We could sing with this. I hear the words in my head as I hear this.
I do too.
Jim George is here, Professor Gadget. Not to be confused with Inspector Gadget. We're not trying to infringe on anybody's copyright here. We're just playing the song and calling Jim Professor Gadget. Because you are a professor. You have the knowledge of a professor. Oh. You could teach what you know in schools.
I do. I do teach.
Do you teach?
I do.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And you always talk about different gadgets and technology. It started out with just cable, and it's expanded to pretty much everything in the world of tech. So
that's how it grows.
Do you know, I had a tech geek encounter this past week.
Oh.
Yeah, my computer stopped. And I went down to Best Buy and said, can you help me?
Yeah.
I have a Mac Mini. And,
oh, boy.
So they tried to do everything and said, we could make this a lot faster if you would replace that hard drive with a solid state hard drive.
Right.
Explaining to me in my little ability to understand way that the one I had a moving part.
Yes.
The one they put in there doesn't.
Correct.
And you know what? They were right. It goes a lot faster.
Oh, yes.
It's a lot better.
It is a lot better. They're not, the solid state storage isn't very large yet. In other words, you can't buy like a 1 terabyte solid state where you can easily buy a 1 terabyte moving disk one. Mm-hmm. But they're getting there. And but they are fast. Your computer is going to turn on faster, boot up faster.
And that's for the hard drives?
That's with the solid state.
Okay.
The solid state's faster.
Now, the what do you want to call it? The storage unit that I have is 2 terabytes.
Okay, that's an off-premise, or that inside the...
Well, it's like a little wire that connected. It's 6 inches from it.
Yes, off-premise, yeah. Yeah, that's an external hard drive. Yeah.
And without that, I wouldn't have enough memory for all the stuff I have.
No.
Because music and movies, it's unbelievable how much space they take up.
Yeah, my wife has 3 of those hard drives.
Oh, wow. 6 terabytes?
Each of them over a terabyte. I think one's 2 and one's 1. But they're so economically now, cheap.
Yeah.
$79 for 1 terabyte maybe, and I think a 2 terabytes probably about under 100. So they're fairly
amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah, and it used to be you couldn't even get 500 meg.
We had a story just a little while ago, Jim. Let me see if it's still on here. How much money will be saved once these self-driving cars come into being? They didn't claim that all traffic accidents would stop, but a lot of them would be prevented. They were just the cars that know, hey, there's something coming up. Let's not crash.
Well, the problem with computers in a car, and I'm sure Matt can talk to this more than I can. Every time I'm turning around, there's something that will go wrong with your car, and they'll say, "Oh, that's the computer."
Right.
Well, and you want that going on self-driving?
Right. Exactly.
Good point. Really good point.
There's an accident. Oh, it's my computer's fault, Your Honor.
Oh,
no, not mine.
That's a really good point. Yeah.
So it's really difficult. I wouldn't want my computer trying to drive me.
Is that one of the topics that was in the seminars that you attended this past week?
No, the seminars this week were on TV technology, what's coming up new, and not in the case of programming, not what's on TV, but TV itself and how it's transmitted, and what new frequencies are available, and what the FCC is trying to do with vacating frequencies and all that type of stuff. So it just keeps me, the person that actually that grabs the program, up to date, so I know that it's coming through at a different format now. I need different pieces of equipment now.
Right. So you went to a convention this past weekend in Orlando?
I did. This is my second. I went to the Bixie convention last week, and I went to the TV Technology Summit. The good part about the summit, it's invitation only. You can't go unless you're invited to go. So this is my 5th year, so I feel pretty good that they think enough of me to, that want me to come.
This Sunday is International Women's Day. We've been talking about women.
I've been looking for some of them.
When you go to the like more women are getting involved in technology now, right? Do you when you go to the convention? You've been doing it a long time. Do you see more and more tech women showing up?
I do.
Really?
Yeah.
Because at the Geek Squad at the Best Buy, there was at least 2 women that we saw there.
Yep.
That were technicians.
Yep.
Yeah.
This goes to show you can teach an old dog new tricks. No, I'm not saying.
No dinner for you tonight.
Yeah, no.
Well, we're all 3 of us
are being changed this moment.
Let me tell you, all 3 of us were way older than the girls we saw.
Yeah. Oh,
I was just happy for the guys. I said, Rob, boy, this is nice. These guys, they're kind of geeky, and it's nice to know that there are girls that are in their same club, sort of, kind of.
Well, even at Marion Technical Institute, I was a mentor there for several years. I mean, the ladies are there, and they take the computers apart. They repair them. They replace, the hard drives. They replace the keyboard clean. In other words, when you leave Marion Technical Institute, you can have an IC3 and an A+ certification. And what that basically means is take a computer apart, repair it, put it back together again.
Wow.
Clean it up as far as viruses, and then if you are in there longer or you learn faster, you can get an MSc, a Microsoft Systems Engineering certificate. It's probably the first level, but it means that you're certified in XP, Windows, that type of thing. So you can load this on. And that's great. You're in high school. And when you get out, you already have those certifications.
Yeah, really. And that's a job.
It is.
When you have that piece of paper, that equals a job.
It does
Or a
equal
career.
a job.
You could have your own business.
Yeah, you can, and that's how a lot of them start. When you see the geek squads and such, and they look young, they're probably right out of the high school level, and then many of them go on to computer sciences at the junior college,
right?
And that's more programming, but it's still networking.
Do you know what I want to tell you? In my neighborhood, there's a new antenna.
All right.
And let me describe what it looks like. It has like 4 black circles and then the normal antenna look, but there's 4 that look almost the size of like a 45 RPM record. So there's like 4 of them, and they look like donuts, as a matter of fact. Like they got the hole in them. Is that the antenna you've been talking about, where you can pick up local TV signals?
It may be. They're all different. They're shaped differently. That could also be a ham radio antenna. That could be an FM antenna that pick up FM stations.
Could be, yeah. Just the design is different. Huh?
Yeah. The years ago they had the log periodic and the Yaggies. Those were the ones that were real narrow, real long, and you aimed them at the station you wanted. And then they went to because there was only 1 or 2 stations available back in those days. And then as they got more and more, then you had the big finned antennas. You probably saw them where they had these bars going across, almost shaped like an arrow, but it's going from small to large.
Sure, I have.
The small is
I think
a UHF.
we had that on the roof of my house in New York.
Yeah.
The small is the UHF, and the larger is the VHF channels. And so now that everything is coming off of VHF and going on to UHF, but the UHF frequencies are stopping, like about channel 35, I think, is what the FCC says. No longer are TV channels broadcasting up on the channel 81 or 69.
Right?
No,
is the government using those signals for something?
They're selling them. They're selling those frequencies. They have auctions on those frequencies. They kick the TV channel off of it, and then they sell them for like $2 billion for one frequency.
Never mind.
Yeah.
I was thinking about getting one.
Yeah, no. It leaves us out.
So could you technically, if you had enough money, get one of those numbers?
Sure.
And then broadcast to just the community, or
yes, or nationwide, because you're buying it for the whole nation. You're buying that frequency, Dish just bought a frequency for $2.3 billion. Really? And now they own a certain frequency. So what it allows them to do is not only send you the dish signal from the satellite to your home,
right,
but now terrestrially wireless.
You know what I was wondering?
Nice.
Do you know when you go to, if you go to a house that's being sold by a realtor, sometimes they'll have a little broadcasting thing in there, and it only broadcasts like outside the house. It doesn't go far. In fact, at Christmas time, sometimes people will have them, and they'll have their lights synchronized to music.
Yep.
And because people were complaining about people having loud music, they now tell people, they put up a sign, if you want to hear the music while you're watching the lights, tune in to 90 whatever.
Exactly.
Whatever. Okay. Is there such a thing for TV? For example, let's say I owned a KOA campground. I've always wanted to own a KOA campground.
Yeah.
And I just want a little TV signal that's going to go to all the campers just to kind of let them know that we're having a pancake breakfast or whatever. Is that possible to have a short, very small radius?
Very simple.
How?
Well, you have a wireless camera, for instance. You can put the camera anywhere, and it would send the signal back to a receiving site. And then that receiving site would just amplify that and put it on a frequency. And that frequency would be like a channel 2, channel 3, whatever frequency you wanted to.
Right.
Or you could put it to an internet, and therefore you could blast it.
Well, you could do I know the internet, but could you actually have a signal, though?
Oh, yes.
Like a TV signal?
You can get a TV signal.
But I wonder how many people would actually have an antenna, though. Most people are using cable nowadays.
Most campgrounds are set up with cable, but you do find some that you bring in your dish or your satellite receiver on your RV, or you put up an antenna locally, like the one I told you about. You can get all the off-the-air channels.
Right.
But the off-the-air channels are split. I mean, like if you have channel 20, let's say at a Gainesville, the next thing you might see is channel 26. So you can see that there's no 21, 22, 20, in our area. So there is a 24 down in Orlando. So the more you know what frequencies are vacated, those that are, and it's tunable. You can tune this stuff. You don't have to buy it set on channel 26.
So the FCC does. The FCC,
as long as it's low power,
and they don't care. They don't govern it at all.
Right, but it has to be low power. I mean, by that you can't be souping it up.
So I don't even know how TV is numbered. Like, for example, I know that a 100,000 watt AM station radio is huge.
Oh yeah.
I know a 5,000 watt AM station is for like one small city like Ocala, and with the AM signal. What is What are the numbers for TV? What kind of wattage do they?
It could be under 1 watt.
1 watt.
Yeah, it could be under.
And that's good enough for TV?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
It depends how it's on the distance.
Well,
an AM signal never stops.
I know.
I mean, theoretically, WABC New York's at 77 AM or whatever. You can pick it up here in Ocala. You can pick up. I picked it up all the time. At nighttime, sure. Even in West Palm Beach, I was down there a couple of weeks ago and listened to 77.
Well, FM never stops either. But FM goes in a straight line, so you can't hear it because you're not out in space. But FM does; it goes to a straight line, and AM bounces. But for some reason, it bounces more at night.
Well, that's because the ionosphere. It gets thicker and it can hit it in stratosphere and it bounces back to the earth. So it goes up, hits a cloud, and comes back down.
It was a long time ago when you actually had to take a test to do this job. I actually took that test.
Took the test. You got your name
down in Tampa.
Yep.
I don't even think I was 20 yet. I was very young.
Yeah, you got your license.
Got my license way before I ever got a job in radio. And then by the time I got a job in radio, you didn't need the license.
Well, they had you on file, though. You're still in the roster.
Somewhere in there. All right, we'll take a little break and be back with Jim. By the way, Jim is live today. We thought you were going to be a rebroadcast.
I was going to be rebroadcast. I was.
We'll take a little break and be right back. If you want to speak to Jim.
I got recycled.
622 WOCA is the number. We'll be right back.
Oh, man.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. We'll see clouds and a few sunny breaks today. It'll be noticeably cooler. Look for a shower in places. Highs ranging from 62 in the northern part of the zone to 74 in the south. Partly cloudy and brisk tonight with a shower in spots along the coast. Lows ranging from 47 well inland to 61 on the beaches. Tomorrow, clouds and breaks of sun and breezy. There may be a shower near the coast with a high of 68 to 72. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
Guy Harvey Checking is now exclusively available at Gateway Bank. With Guy Harvey Checking, you will receive Gateway's premium checking account plus several other Guy Harvey Ocean Foundation features, including membership to the Guy Harvey Hammerhead Nation, free Guy Harvey t-shirt, and an exclusive Guy Harvey debit card. At Gateway Bank, we will make a $50 donation to the Guy Harvey Ocean Foundation for every new account opened. This is just one more reason why people choose Gateway Bank. Sign up today for your exclusive Guy Harvey Checking account with Gateway. Details available at gatewaybankcfl.com, member FDIC.
Hi, Danny Warfel here. Get moving with Florida Credit Union's fast and easy loan approval process.
Let Florida Credit Union start up a new car loan for you today. No more waiting, hassles, or stop signs. You can even apply online. With a strong financial team behind you, you can enjoy great rates and fast approvals.
It's all about personalized service and a streamlined process.
Florida Credit Union, connecting your money to your life.
Real estate is the largest and most personal investment that any of us will ever make. Be sure to tune in Tuesdays at 10 a.m. when Bob Kennedy, owner of Berkshire Hathaway Home Team Realty, will be answering your questions and discussing real estate. So remember, that's Tuesdays at 10 a.m. Call 622-9622 with your questions. It pays to be an informed buyer or seller. This is news you can use from Berkshire Hathaway Home Team Realty and your friends here at WOCA. All right, 20 minutes after 9 o'clock. Jim George is here. He is Professor Gadget, and I saw the phone ringing, and now there's nobody there. So if it was you, go ahead and call in, and Jim will talk to you. And we're going to learn about how light turns into electricity. But first, you do have a phone call.
Great.
Good morning. You're on the air with Jim.
Good morning, Jim and everybody. Say, Jim, have you ever heard of anybody putting household batteries in a freezer, which they're trying to preserve the life of them?
Well, not necessarily in a freezer. In order to restore the health of a battery, you have to warm it up. If you ever notice, if you plug in your cell phone, it gets hot, right? And in World War II, when the soldiers were marching, they would take the batteries from their two-way walkie-talkies and such and put them in their armpits, keep them warm. That charges them. So I would think a cold battery doesn't start, as you know. In the morning when it's real cold, your car is hard to start. So I would, but you're saying preserve it. You're not saying boost it. You're saying preserve. No, I've never heard of that.
Yeah, I got a friend that has been doing that for years and swears by it. And we had a conversation with him not long ago. We were talking about it, and he swears by it. I don't understand his line of thinking, but I thought I'd ask you about it.
So he has a car battery in his freezer or something? What is it?
Oh, no, just household batteries. AA, AAA, all the little ones.
All the little ones. Yeah, no, I would think not. I don't see how that would one way or the other improve, except that moisture and heat will definitely do a battery in after a while.
Another quick question. We got this satellite or spaceship, or whatever you want to call it, that's going to be going around this dwarf planet. There's another one that's going to be going way out to Pluto, I believe in April, and it's been on its voyage for over 8 years. I think that's what I heard. Now, those batteries, I know they're solar. The sun helps them. But how can they be so useful for such a long time? I mean, is it like a lithium battery, or when there's extreme cold and heat? And do you know how that function works?
Well, keep in mind the government's got batteries you and I may never see. I mean, the technology. NASA has done a great many things for us as far as the things they've invented that they passed on to the common citizen. But there are many things they have that will never be passed on, and there's some that will maybe eventually be passed on. But there are some batteries that just last really long. I mean, you probably noticed it yourself. You might buy a battery from Walgreens that's a no brand name, and you might buy a copper top and come to find out that no name has even lasted longer than that.
Really?
It really depends on the composition of the material, how it was made. But you led right into it. I was telling Larry I wanted to talk a little bit about photovoltaic, and that's exactly what's charging that battery on that spaceship.
Okay, thanks a lot.
You're welcome.
Thank you. So now we've heard about photocells for a very, very long time, but now they're actually starting to become practical?
They are. So basically, the common citizen can sell power back to the power company. If you put up photocells on your house, you can make enough current to power your whole house. And it's, of course, charged in the batteries. And what the batteries do is have an inverter that takes DC and makes it AC. And that's how your house runs, is on AC.
Okay.
So the sun trickle charges the batteries. The batteries get converted from their DC voltage to AC voltage, and then AC voltage powers your house. But because your house is still tied to the power company grid, your meter runs in reverse. So,
really?
So you start sending power back to the power company. And they pay you for that.
So now, the dollar amount you pay for the electricity from the electric company is whatever it is, $200 or $300 a month, whatever it is you pay. Is this comparable? Is the cost of setting your house up with one of these systems, is it comparable to that? I'm sure it's a lot of money, but if you don't have to pay the electricity company and that stuff will stick around for enough years, then it works out? Or
it works out. Yeah, I just came from a place that wants more of these, but they spent more money than they should have. But let's imagine that you spend $300,000, and it's to cover this whole office complex you have here. All the lights, the transmitter, all that stuff is covered by the $300,000 you spend on the cells, the solar cells.
Okay.
All right. Now, your bill used to be, let's say it was $2,000 because of this lot of heavy current drawing.
Right. Okay.
All right. So right now you save $2,000 a month because now the photocells are powering.
Right.
So that's $24,000 a year.
Okay.
All right. But the solar cells make more power than you use. So it sells back to the power company, and let's assume it sells back to them $1,000 a month. So what happens is now you've saved another $1,000. So now you're saving $36,000 a year. All right. But the U.S. government will give you a 35% tax credit because you converted the solar.
Oh, wow.
So right away, the first year, if you spent $300,000, you got like $100 plus, let's say $105,000 tax credit. So it's in essence like paying $200,000. So if you divide
Really?
$36,000 into $200,000, you can see in like 10 years plus, let's say 12, 14, whatever it is, math is, you've totally paid for it.
So, I mean, I don't know if you know this or not, but is like Disney World completely solar, or they've got enough money to make themselves?
Well, they do have enough money, but it's you have there's not enough land space to put that many solar cells, and we have to start making solar cells more better.
Oh, okay. So on a house, if you lived on a quarter-acre lot, let's say,
Right.
you don't have enough room, or you do?
Oh no, you have enough room.
Oh, you do?
Oh yes, you could put them over your garage. Just make that portion of it.
And that would be enough for the entire house?
That'd
Enough
be
electricity?
Enough for the entire house.
Really?
So you won't even have to have the electric company then. I mean, not even hook up to your house at all if you have solar cells.
Well, you'd still have them in the case of a tree limb maybe breaking one of your solar panels, or a dark, rainy, weekend where the sun didn't shine for 2 days. But what happens is you would be charged for that, and then you dump it back into them when the sun came back out.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Yeah. I'm just talking to a couple of people right now that are moving into large warehouses, and they want to take their whole entire roof and make it all solar cells, so they'll be totally off the grid.
So you don't think Disney is there any large entity, anything in Dubai, where they've got $1 gazillion?
If you're driving from here to North Carolina, I can't remember the road it's on right now, but you'll drive for about a mile and a half, and all you'll see is photocells. It's a whole field. Maybe the field is a half a mile wide by a mile long of nothing but photocells. And then all of a sudden you see a big building. And those solar cells are powering that entire huge it's a mall, powering the entire mall. Right here, we could power this entire mall by photocells, and not even have to worry about them. I venture to say the mall's probably got a $90,000 to maybe $150,000 a month bill for power.
I bet you're right.
Wow.
Yeah, I bet you're right.
That would all go away. Can you imagine that? But the bill to do that may cost $1 million. All right. Well, if you divide 90,000 or say 100,000 into 1 million, you can see in 10 years, 12 years, whatever the number is, plus the tax write-off, plus how much you'd dump back into the grid, it pays for itself.
So the city of Ocala Electric Utility should go into the solar cell business. That way, whatever they're losing in customers that don't have that electric bill anymore to them, they'll make up in the sale of solar cells.
They could do that. It really depends if the county commissioners feel that's a good way to spend their time and money.
Well, and I guess as technology improves, that will improve too.
Oh yes.
Doesn't the space station use solar cells?
It does.
So.
And some chemical. There are some chemicals.
Oh, really?
You mix two chemicals together, like the flashlight we brought in when you shake it.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, fascinating stuff. I love that.
Jim,
All right.
Jim, I love talking to you about this stuff. So how do we get a hold of you? Let's see. A la carte service is the topic that hasn't been talked about a lot. Is it ready yet?
It's being produced right now. We're going down to Fort Lauderdale on Thursday to finalize some contracts, and we think before June, we're hoping April, that we will be launching.
Oh, nice.
There's that siren.
Yeah, siren, yeah. There it is.
So what is your phone number, Jim, at American Cable Services?
854-9795.
All right. Thank you, Jim.
Thank you.
And we'll take a little break. We'll be right back.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. We'll see clouds and a few sunny breaks today. It'll be noticeably cooler. Look for a shower in places. Highs ranging from 62 in the northern part of the zone to 74 the south. Partly cloudy and brisk tonight with a shower in spots along the coast. Lows ranging from 47 well inland to 61 on the beaches. Tomorrow, clouds and breaks of sun and breezy. There may be a shower near the coast with a high of 68 to 72.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lillian Wu. February jobs numbers have